This is the most powerful e-mountain bike that Canyon has ever made. And behind me, up there in the cloud somewhere, is the biggest mountain in Wales. And in this video, I'm gonna try and ride to the summit before the battery goes flat. Right, here we go. Starting the climb. Well, the tarmac climb to get to the start of the off-road climb anyway. And so far, my range predicted in Eco, the lowest power assist mode, is 273 kilometers. But I do imagine that'll drop quite a bit as the climb goes on. This new Canyon Spectral On should be a perfect tool for the challenge, all due to the massive battery in the down tube, one of the biggest ever fitted to an e-mountain bike. We have inside that down tube a 900 watt-hour battery, which is absolutely insane and should give a run time of about 100 kilometers. That battery powers a Shimano EP8 motor with 3 modes controllable via a handlebar remote. In general riding at home, I found Eco is more than adequate, with trail occasionally used for steeper climbs. And boost mode, well, it's like the ludicrous mode on a Tesla car, just way too powerful, but it might come in handy on the steeper slopes of the climb today. Right, here we are at the start of the climb proper. I'm going up the Clanberries route. I think there are 4 or 5 different ways up and down. This apparently is the easiest. It goes alongside the railway. Yes, there's a railway on this mountain. I'll show you that later. And then I plan to come down the ranger path over the back of the mountain, then loop round back to my van and then home. But already the cloud cover is looking ominous. It's starting to lift a little bit, but it doesn't look so promising. But hopefully the wind, it's quite windy at the moment, will blow the cloud away and give me some nice views at the top of this mountain. So it looks like the path starts off nice and gently in terms of how technical the trail is. Quite slaty, quite rocky, a little bit loose, but nothing too demanding just yet. With such a big battery, range anxiety shouldn't be an issue. Do I feel I'm cheating using an e-bike? I don't know actually. I think doing this ride in the winter, with the weather being so sketchy, would be intimidating on a normal bike, given how long it would take to get to the summit and then back down again. Only got a few hours of daylight really, a small weather window. I've done a lot of challenges on 2 wheels in my lifetime, but this one is definitely making me feel a bit nervous, and I've had quite a bit of anxiety on the drive up here. The weather has been pretty awful. I tried to plan for a nice weather window, but in February, that's pretty tricky. And the reason I'm doing the winter is because you're only allowed to ride mountain bikes during the daytime through the winter, from September to March. And in the summer, because the mountain is so popular and so busy with hikers and walkers, you have to ride super early or super late. The path is a lot rockier now. I'm glad I've got full suspension, 150mm travel front and rear, high quality Fox shocks, the damping's superb, just handles everything so well. Got the small 27.5 rear wheel for maximum traction, bigger 29-inch front wheel for rollover speed and steering precision. So I've just about reached the cloud line. You can see behind me, it's looking pretty ominous. That way though, it looks amazing. That's where I come, that's where I'm going. But yeah, that cloud, you can see it coming right across the tops there. So I've no idea whether we'll go through it. Bit of blue sky up there, so it might get better. But yeah, it's looking a bit dicey at the moment, so crack on. The climb so far hasn't been too bad. Quite chunky and bumpy in places, but the Spectral is handling it just fine. So range update. We started with 160 kilometers predicted, now down to 42. And we barely scratched the surface of the climb so far. And it looks like it's going to get a lot steeper. I'm in boost mode, traction is a challenge right now. The rocks are left me far too slippery. Right, I've made a cock of that, haven't I? And now I've stopped. I can't get going again. Right, the problem I have now is I can't get the bike going, and the EP8 motor from Shimano isn't quite sensitive enough. You get a bit of crank rotation before the power kicks in, which is too late for me to get going and pick a line. So yes, I'm walking. I am ashamed of myself. But also overheating as well. This is not how I planned it to be at all. I thought I'd just waltz up it and blitz down the other side. I have no idea it'd be this tough. Okay, I managed to get going again. The trail smoothed out just a little bit, and I found a place to get going. Didn't last very long. As a measure of how cold it is up here, look at that snow. Okay, the visibility is now pretty bad. Not quite sure how far to the summit I've got. Got a wind just whipping off the mountain, or up the mountain, should I say, trying to blow me over. It's a lot tougher than I thought it'd be. Even ignoring the weather conditions, the trail surface is so hard. I wasn't expecting to have to walk so much. Hey guys. All right. Ta, cheers. Right, this is it. Nearly at the summit. Almost there, guys. Almost there. So I made it to the summit. I'd love to show you the view, but there isn't one. Just absolute zero visibility, and the wind is wild. That was a hell of a ride. A lot harder than I thought it'd be. What a ride. But I finally ticked off this bucket list ride. I wanted to do it all my life. I've finally done it. Was it worth it? Yes. Will I do it again? Probably not. Maybe in the summer. Guys, something else. So I'm not going to hang around and get down off the mountain, below the cloud cover and out of the bloody wind and get a cup of coffee. So I made it to the summit and down the other side. Did look a bit hairy for a while in the cloud and the wind, but below the cloud it was okay. The bike was amazing. If I didn't have a motor, I'd probably still be up there somewhere now. But with a motor, I got around in a reasonable time. So for this time of year, I think an e-bike is definitely the way forward. The bike generally was amazing. Going up, going down, suspension, geometry, all the equipment on it, just first class. The only real weak link was me and my lack of talent on some of the rockier sections. And my anxiety about the range was unfounded. The massive battery in this frame gave me all the range I needed. I got 3 bars left out of 5, 73 kilometers of predicted range remaining in trail mode. So I could, after I've had a cuppa and a bit of lunch, go around again. But I'm not, but I could if I wanted to. And that is how capable this bike is with that massive motor. but riding it and riding the bike here has definitely put it through its paces and really allowed the bike to showcase its full talents and potential. Where on my home trails, which are pretty tame compared to what I've done today, the bike doesn't really have the opportunity to really showcase what it's capable of. And that for me is a problem with the bike. It's just too bloody good for me and the riding I do generally at home. I need to move somewhere here with proper rocky mountain trails where the bike can really perform at its best. So sadly for me, the bike just is too good for me, it's too much for me. But if you have these sort of trails on your doorstep and the sort of riding you want to do, then I can highly recommend this. Maybe not this model, it's a bit lavish with the carbon wheels and everything else, but the lower range model with the same motor and battery is probably the way to go. And perhaps go for the smaller 730 watt hour battery. I think the range on this is probably too much. I don't think you need that much range actually. So maybe the smaller battery and a bit lighter overall might improve the handling on smoother, tamer trails. And on riding this mountain, it's a long-held ambition. I can't believe it's taken me so long to get around to doing it. No, life gets in the way, but it's finally been done and it lived up to everything I expected of it. But it was definitely harder and more challenging than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be quite easy actually. But yeah, how wrong was I? So definitely one to do. If you live in the UK and you have an e-bike, definitely do this ride. It's definitely worth doing and ticking off that list. Even if you don't have an e-bike, do it, but maybe wait till summer for a nicer day because you need a bit more time to get around. I am intrigued to come back with a non-assisted motorised bike and see how I get on, but I would need some nicer weather and a bit more daylight, so I think, to do that, because it would take a bit longer than it took me on this. And 3 tips for doing this route if you do want to do it. Flat pedals. Being clipped in is a handicap on the rockier downhill section, so flat pedals so you can jump off the bike, definitely the way to go. An e-bike, not essential, but for this time of year when the daylight is at a minimum, an e-bike lets you get around in a reasonable time, where if I was on a normal bike I'd still be out there now, probably still toiling away up the climb, I think. And thirdly, probably do it with a friend or a few buddies rather than on your own like me, Billy No Mates today, just for the bit of company and a bit of support if anything goes wrong. Because if anything goes wrong and you're on your own, well, you're a bit scuppered. And if you want to see another video on this Canyon, watch this video up here, definitely worth a watch. My first impressions ever on an e-mountain bike like this. But that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again next time.